Hey guys, it's Dr. Eric. I want to tell you about a book called Death by Medicine, and I also want to show you how this affects you and the people around you every single day, okay? So this is a great book by Gary Knoll, written by 3 medical doctors, 2 PhDs, and it actually talks about the #1 cause of death and injury in the United States, which is not heart disease or cancer. It's what's called iatrogenic death, and iatrogenic is Latin for treatment-induced death, which means our medical system, or what I call our sick care system, kills more people in the United States than heart disease does. That's absolutely insane to me. And if you've ever heard me talk about this before, it's not the doctors that are evil and trying to kill you. It's like the pharmaceutical companies are basically running everything behind the scenes. And we know that because there's 4 pharmaceutical lobbyists for every 1 congressman on Capitol Hill. We're one of only 2 countries in the world that allows direct-to-consumer advertising, which is insane. Their pharmaceutical companies are directly advertising to us instead of to doctors. And here's what that has gotten us. When you see people only as being fixed by a pill, potion, or lotion, we're 5% of the world's population. We take almost 60% of the world's drugs. 6 out of the next 10 adults that you see take at least 1 medication a day. 1 in 4 kids are going to take chronic medication they're going to take for the rest of their lives. And drug interactions alone is the 3rd leading cause of death, right behind cancer. So this is a table and looks at annual mortality and cost of medical intervention. And here's the citations. This citation is from the FDA, by the way. So hospital adverse drug reactions means it's the right drug and the right dose, 106,000 people a year. Hospital medical errors, which means they got the drug wrong, that kills 98,000 people a year. That's just in the hospital. 200,000 people dying from incorrectly or correctly prescribed medication. And then you get down here at the bottom and you see outpatient adverse drug reactions, which means they died at home of correctly prescribed medication. That's 199,000 people a year. Think about that. 400,000 people die every single year from correctly or incorrectly prescribed medication. That's out of control. So the #1 thing you need to worry about really isn't even heart disease and cancer. It's going to the doctor and getting put on medication, which is why we have what's called the drug freedom trash can. And the reason we call it a drug freedom trash can is because I don't believe that you're free if you're tied or shackled to some drug that you have to take every day. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of this. And if you're dealing with problems, this is how you can get over them. And there's a lot of people around you that are dealing with these issues as well. Again, 6 out of the next 10 adults that you see are taking a chronic medication like one of these. So this is Tony. Tony was on Prilosec when he came in, and Prilosec is for heartburn, okay? Now, what that does is it's a proton pump inhibitor. So your stomach's producing too much stomach acid, so it shuts down all the stomach acid production, which, yes, can help you with your heartburn, but what do you think it does for your digestion and everything else in your body? Nothing good, right? Which is why you have all of these side effects. Look at the side effects of Prilosec. Severe stomach pain, diarrhea, seizures, brain fog, and dementia. I'll get back to that in a minute. Rapid weight gain, irregular heartbeats, feeling jittery, muscle cramps, choking feeling, joint pain. Imagine that, like your knees and your hips and your back could be hurting because of the medication that you're taking, because of what this does and how it interferes with your gut. But one specific thing that I was telling him about is that there's studies that show, and there's a lot of lawyers that are suing the makers of Prilosec now because they knew about this effect and didn't tell people, but it increases your risk of dementia. So having dementia later in your life, Alzheimer's or dementia, so you're in a nursing home, by 60% if you're taking Prilosec. Now here's the craziness behind this. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to give you a powerful medication that has all of these side effects because of your heartburn, what I'm going to do is say, hey, let's listen to your body. Like, why do you think you're producing too much stomach acid? And if you could do that, if a doctor ever tells you you have this thing, the question you need to ask is why? What's causing that thing? And don't settle for, I don't know, or it's just your genes, or you're just getting older. No, let's find out why your body, which is intelligent and beautiful and smart, is doing something like this. Let's figure out what's causing it. So in the case of heartburn, what is causing it typically is there's 2 nerves that actually go to your stomach, if you see these. So there's a nerve that comes off of here called the vagus nerve. That's from C1. That nerve goes directly to the top part of the stomach, and that's like the brake pedal, right? And then there's another set of nerves down here at T7 that go to the stomach, and that's like the gas pedal. Almost all organs that you have a gas pedal and a brake pedal. So if it wants it to do more of what it's supposed to do, gas pedal. If it wants to slow down, it's a brake pedal. Well, what we saw with Tony is a problem right up here at the top at C1, which was interfering with his brake pedal, the vagus nerve going to the stomach. So if this is telling the stomach, which is what this is doing, is the brain sends messages through the vagus nerve to the stomach to stop producing stomach acid. So when you have food and you need stomach acid, it'll do that, and then it'll stop producing stomach acid. Well, what happens if that nerve is being interfered with and then your stomach no longer gets the message to stop producing stomach acid? What kind of problems do you think you're going to have? Too much stomach acid, which is acid reflux or heartburn. So what happened with Tony's, we started removing that interference up here, got that nerve working, communicating with the stomach, and guess what happened to the Prilosec? In the drug freedom trash can. And guess what happened to his risk of dementia? Went down 60%. Half of these symptoms, are now can go away because he's not dealing with those that are caused by the medication. So I have a saying that says, I just read this recently. It says, if someone's drowning, they don't want you to change their life. They want you to save their life. So when I talk about whoever referred Tony in saved his life, I'm serious about that. Because if I went and pulled him out of a nursing home where he was dying, what would I have done? I would have saved his life. Well, they prevented that from ever happening to him. That's saving his life. So you can do that. Every time you talk to someone and you tell them about what you know, you tell them about what you've experienced in here, you tell them about the spine and the x-rays and how your nervous system controls everything. There's so many people that are out there ready. When I talked to him about this, he wasn't like hesitant. He was like, I would love to get off that medication. I didn't know I could be off that medication. So you're saving a life when you're telling people about this stuff. So that's why we want to empty out the drug freedom trash can, right? We want that fill up the drug freedom trash can. I just emptied it recently. We want to fill that thing back up with things like Prilosec, Nexium. Here's another example though. So this is Angela, and Angela is what we call a medical miracle, but I would call it chiropractic normal. I always said a medical miracle is chiropractic normal. Like, doctors don't get to see the miracles that we get to see. I'm very blessed to see those. We expect miracles in here. So when she came in, she had MS, multiple sclerosis, which what's happening there is you have the spinal cord and parts of the brain that actually start to demyelinate, which means the covering there starts to break down, and the messages no longer get where they're supposed to go properly, which is why you have things like walking difficulty, which is why so many people end up in a wheelchair, which is what her doctors were telling her. This is all there is for you. You're eventually going to end up in a wheelchair. And she said, nope, that's not good enough for me. So she came in here, started getting her adjusted, and what she had is a loss of the curvature in her neck. When you have a straight neck, that causes demyelination of the spinal cord, which is what MS is. So I explained this to her. We started working with her. After her 90-day x-ray, which was the other day, she said, I got to tell you a couple of things. She's like, I love to play piano, but I couldn't play the piano because my fingers didn't work. And then now, she said, now I'm able to glide across the keyboard. Now my fingers are working again. She's like, I couldn't tell that I had socks on or shoes on before. Now I can tell if my socks are on wrong. I'm getting feeling back in my feet again. And guess what? She's going away from the wheelchair rather than towards the wheelchair. That's another example of people that are ready to transform their life. And again, she had her life saved because the only thing she was offered is a wheelchair. Some of you guys know Maggie. When Maggie came in here, she had severe anxiety issues to the point where she was having panic attacks, pulling over on the side of the road, calling her mom saying, hey, this is it. I'm having a heart attack. I'm not going to make it home. And when we took her x-ray, she had a problem here at C2. C2 is what feeds the frontal lobe of the brain, and that wasn't moving properly. So the frontal lobe not getting fed properly is called disafferentation, and you don't make serotonin properly anymore. That's when you have things like anxiety. So when we started adjusting her, look at the smile on her face, no more panic attacks, no more anxiety, completely different person because someone told her, hey, go see if the chiropractor can help you. And that's what this is about. So when you reach out to the people that are around you, maybe some of them don't listen, right? And that's always the case. Some people, they don't want help, or maybe they just want to keep taking their pills. But for every one of those, there's at least another person that's praying on their knees, praying every day, saying, I wish somebody would help me with this. I don't want to have to live with these migraines. I don't want to live with this diagnosis. I don't want to have to take this Prilosec every day anymore. I want to do something different. So first of all, I just want to thank you for reaching out. I know so many of you guys are reaching out and telling the people around you what you know. This is why I'm getting out and speaking more. So if you ever want me to come speak at a small group, at your work, at a Bible study, anything like that, I'll absolutely do it. But I just want to say thank you for saving lives. Not changing lives, but saving lives. Because if Maggie doesn't, come out of what she was in, she's like, I didn't want to live anymore. So literally saving and transforming her life is what you're doing. And that's what chiropractic is capable of. So I don't care if you know people in Florida, Texas, California, wherever they are, we will find them the help that they need. And if they're here, send them in. And I'll tell them. Like I told a lot of you guys, if I can help you, I'll tell you. If I can't help you, I'll tell you that too. But we've seen so many lives transformed because someone like you opened your mouth and told people the truth, and you were the light to those people who were stuck in that darkness. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. As always, get out there and save a life.